Hey guys, even here with another video for today, and in this one we also got a few more very interesting bodybuilding updates. The first one is from Blessing Avoribu. The first thing that I'm seeing in this physique update is is his face. What the hell happened to this guy's face? I mean, this is the right way to do a proper bulk. This is what's gonna happen to you. If you guys are struggling to put on weight and you're trying to be lean year around and you want to look pretty for the girls, if you want to have your face all chiseled all the time, you won't put on as much muscle as you would if you did a proper hardcore bulk. This is the way to do it. That's the way everybody has done it. And it's not that Blessing got that fat. No, it's just the way his body responds. Some people get that moon face and some people don't. Some people hold a lot of fluid in their face when they're bulking, and this is what they end up looking. And it sucks. It sucks for you, man, if you're one of them. But if you care about bodybuilding more so than about looking pretty all the time, then you gotta do it. You just gotta do it. It sucks, but you gotta do it. And that's exactly what Blessing did, and I think he made some solid progress in his previous off-season. Now, the next thing that I'm seeing in this physique update is absolutely his freaking arms. Those freaking biceps are crazy massive. And also the forearms. I don't know if you guys paid attention to the forearms, but they look photoshopped. Like, his wrists are so small and his forearms are bulging like Popeye's forearms. Like, what is happening here? Is this even real? Is this photoshopped? I don't think he's photoshopping his photos, but this is looking absolutely nuts. The V-taper is looking great, the lats are popping out, the chest has some thickness. We'll see how much is there actually once he diets down completely, but the main thing we should pay attention to is the legs. That was his weak point before this off-season, and I'm sure that was his main focus in this past off-season of his, and I think he did some solid work with the legs. I don't think these legs right here, right now, are looking weak. Like, yeah, his arms are massive and like his upper body is huge, so his legs definitely do need to be really massive to match his upper body, to match his shoulder width, but right here, like, they could be bigger, sure, he could use more size, but I wouldn't call these legs small. I definitely wouldn't. I'm definitely seeing progress. Again, how much of this is actual muscle, we'll see. We'll see once he diets down completely, but it looks like he made some serious gains. Check out this one as well. Don't pay attention to his face. Maybe this is better? Just joking. The conditioning is definitely coming along, but as long as his face is falling like this, he is not near being contest ready. He doesn't have to be contest ready right now. He's competing at the New York Pro, so he has around 16 weeks left. I mean, this is not exactly like the best possible spot for being 16 weeks out. I wouldn't say he is behind. He can get ready in 16 weeks, but you know, most of these top level guys are in better condition year round. They don't do these crazy bulks anymore, but Blessing had to do it because of the legs. The legs were really lagging behind, so he did what he did. Whether he's going to be in crazy condition at the New York Pro or slightly off, we'll see. But the improvements are definitely made. The legs are better. His upper body also, I'm sure it grew as well. He's going to be a freak, but again, this body fat percent at 16 weeks out, he is not going to be able to eat a lot of food during this prep. He's probably going to have to suffer to eat very little, and in the end, we'll see how conditioned he will actually get, but I think it's going to take him a couple of shows to actually get in that crazy condition. That's usually how it goes when you do a hard bulk like that. Usually your first show, I mean, unless you prep for like 6 months, usually your first show is going to be not your best condition, but then later, if you do a few more shows, your conditioning actually finally comes along. But maybe Blessing is going to get it right at his first attempt. I mean, his coach is Stefan Kinzel, so anything is possible, really. I do expect to see Blessing at his absolute best version ever, but is that going to happen at the New York Pro or at some other show after New York? We'll see. Whatever you guys think, tell me down below. Alright, the next thing we got is a new physique update by Good Vito, who is also prepping to compete, but from what I heard, he's not going to be doing the Detroit Pro this year, Based on what Fuad Abiad said on his podcast, Good Vito thinks that he was robbed last year. He thinks they gave the victory to Martin because Martin Fitzwater is sponsored by Hostile and Fuad is organizing the show, which I don't think was the case. I mean, like, at the Arnold Classic Brazil last year, Rafael Brandao ended up winning that show. Antonio Burton was very close, and he could have won that show. Good Vito was actually third at that show, so I don't think he was in consideration to win it, but Tonio Burton may have been better than Rafa, because Rafael was very much off at that show. It wasn't Rafael from the Arnold Classic, Ohio, so that show might have been a robbery, but from what I heard, the judges were all Brazilian. So I guess they wanted their guy to win the Arnold Classic Brazil, not an American. And I'm not saying they all sat down and agreed to do this. I think they probably felt like that. They wanted, each one of them personally wanted a Brazilian to win. So that may be the truth, but America is like a neutral ground. I don't think Fuad could have influenced the judges, even if he wanted to. And I don't think he would do that, even if he could. So, and also, like, Martin was very, very good at that show. It was very close. Good Vito could have won that show. He didn't. And I don't think it was a robbery. It was very close, but I think the better guy won. I think Good Vito was better from the front, possibly, but from the back, it was Martin all day. Good Vito had a pretty shallow back last year, and that was the weakest point of Good Vito. Is that changed now? That's what we can see right here. And I think it absolutely is. I think overall, he got bigger. I don't think his back progressed more than the rest of his body. I think it's gonna be, still a weak point, but much less of a weak point because it looks like he grew some back, for sure. And overall, he's going to be bigger. And based on like his physique updates, his weight then versus now, it seems like he gained like a solid 10 pounds of muscle at least. Probably, potentially even more than that. So yeah, Good Vito is gonna be much improved this year at the Arnold Classic Brazil, and as far as I know, none of the top guys, very, very top guys, are doing that show, so he is probably the favorite, and he also lives in Brazil. If what I said about the Arnold Classic Brazil from last year is true, then he might have, a nod from the judges this year if somebody else who's gonna push him shows up. So yeah, I think he's gonna win the Arnold Classic Brazil and qualify for the Mr. Olympia by doing that, and I can't wait to actually see him on the Mr. Olympia stage finally, compared to all the top guys. I think Good Vito can surprise the way Martin Fitzwater did last year. I absolutely do think he is that good. I think he's that impressive, that freaky, and based on this physique update, man, he looks like an absolute monster right here. Look at the size. Yeah, a shorter guy, for sure, about Martin's height, but packing a ton of muscle on that frame. Good Vito is gonna be a force this year for sure. Alright, and finally, we got another physique update from Nick Walker. Yesterday, we saw a very similar one. It was him hitting the most muscular, but here he's hitting the front relaxed pose. This photo is taken at the same spot, under the same lighting like the previous one. Actually, finally, he found some decent lighting. It's not a crazy lighting, but it's not the worst possible lighting. So this one is good. He found a good spot. And he decided to post two photos in two separate days, and even though they are very similar, this one I find more interesting because, again, it's a front relaxed pose in the most muscular pose. The emphasis is not on the V-taper, it's not on the waistline, it's not on his midsection. It's all about muscularity and the freak factor. This pose, however, is probably, like some people say, the most important pose of them all, because the first thing you do when you step on the stage is you do a front relaxed. And front relaxed is not a mandatory pose, but you gotta hit it right. You gotta pay a lot of attention to it. And when you're waiting to hit a pose, or even when you are in the back line, even when you're not being compared, you really need to learn how to keep this pose tight. In Nick's case, keep the midsection tight and flexed, and also stay professional, stay calm, but also without losing too much energy, because just standing in a front relaxed under those bright lights when you're dehydrated, you need to still flex your legs, you need to flex your stomach, your midsection, your core, you need to, pop out your lats to make your shoulders and arms look good. Like, it can be exhausting as well. If you guys compete, you know what I'm saying, but if you're a professional, you need to learn how to do it, how to stand there flexed, but not look like you're trying hard, and also not lose a lot of energy doing that. So that's a very important pose, but it's also very important in Nick's case to actually have a presentable midsection, to make the waist look as small as possible, to exaggerate the V-taper in this pose. That's very, very important, and I gotta say, Nick actually looks very good in this one. I think he implemented exactly similar thing to what he did with his front lat spread. He learned how to open up the lats by also pushing the shoulders and the arms without expanding his chest and his torso too much, and also while keeping the midsection flexed and tight, sucking the obliques in as much as possible. And I know that can be really tricky for some guys, not for myself, of course. I don't have those kind of issues, but I know guys who have the midsection distension issues, who have a really wide and blocky waist. In those cases, with those guys, this can be one of the hardest thing to do, and it seems like Nick learned how to do it, at least in this photo. We'll see what it's going to look like on stage once he's, in shape, dehydrated, tired from posing and everything. Will he be able to keep this pose, look exactly the same way? We'll see. I don't know. But if he learned how to do it this way, and if he practices posing, he gains some stamina, and if he's able to hold it like this is looking good. This is looking very promising. And the other thing is also his legs. Like, look at the separation in that vastus medialis, especially on the left leg. And also there are some feathers starting to show in his lateral head, and just the overall size of the legs, the adductors and the outer sweep. And compare that to the size of his waist, and then to his shoulders. So definitely big improvements that I'm seeing from Nick Walker, and we are only like at the beginning of his prep. Wait to see what he's gonna look like once he actually gets shredded and peaks for the show. Yeah, I think Nick is bringing something serious this year, something very, very impressive. And in the caption here, he says, "Keep doubting me." I love it. I don't know who is doubting him at this point. I mean, I have certain reservations, certain things that I'm not sure whether Nick is going to be able to accomplish, but overall, this looks very promising to me. I believe Nick is going to bring something impressive, but maybe it's better if we actually doubt him, because that's the way his body responds the best under pressure. If he's not stressed, if he's relaxed, he's not going to end up looking very good, right? You remember what Matt Jansen said? I don't think that's the case, but yeah, I love what I'm seeing right here. Nick looks amazing in his front relaxed. Whatever you guys think, tell me down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. For more content like this, guys, stay tuned, subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon, all the best, and bye-bye.